I remember being in 6th grade and my teacher asking me and the rest of my class what they wanted to be when they grow up. My first initial reaction was, I have no idea. And second, I thought about the things that I really enjoyed doing. And at that point in my life, I really enjoyed making videos. And so I said I wanted to be a movie director. So we had to do a project, came up with like the salary for it and the job responsibilities, and we presented it to the class. And I remember that a lot of the people in my class knew exactly what they wanted to be. Like, they either wanted to be a teacher or a physical therapist or a doctor. I just remember feeling very behind and feeling like, dang, like all these people know what they want to be. They have like a really big vision of what that looks like, and I have no idea. And at that point in life, it was okay to say that. And they would say, it's fine, you're young, you shouldn't know what you want to be yet. One day it'll hit you. And now I'm in my mid-20s and I still feel that way. I still feel like I have no idea what I want to be when I grow up. And I'm a grown up. It's not really socially acceptable to say you don't know what you want to be anymore. I think that what that taught me, even being really young, especially being really young and having opinions and thoughts that were different than those around me when it came to my career, I realized that my life wasn't going to be a traditional path. I remember being in that class and telling my friends that I wasn't going to work a 9 to 5 job. I didn't even know what that meant at that age. And I had already known, and maybe I put a curse on myself by saying that, because now I am at the age where I need to be having a career. And I always say like 9 to 5 isn't for me. Like, maybe it's because 7th grade-year-old me is still in there somewhere telling me, girl, like, you never wanted that. So don't start saying that that's what you're doing now, because that's not aligned truly with who you are. And it's just so crazy to me that from such a young age, I knew then that I wasn't going to want to live a traditional life. That just leaves me feeling very empty and unfulfilled at the end of the day. And that's something that I don't want, because I know that if I were to find the right thing, the thing that really spoke to me, then I would want to do it, and I would do it the best that I possibly could. I know that I'm a hard worker, and I know that I can set my mind to anything that I want to do, and I think that all that it takes for someone to do that is to be confident in themselves and to believe in themselves. Really, I think that that's the key to life. And I am starting to accept that not knowing something isn't failure. It's actually quite brave of you to accept if you don't know what you want to do. Choosing to be yourself, even when it doesn't look like what other people are doing, is probably one of the bravest things that you could do. Choosing to do the things that align with who you are takes a lot of courage. And for you to even sit there and think to yourself, maybe the life that I'm currently living isn't what's for me, or isn't what's best for me, or isn't what speaks to me, is something that you should be proud of yourself for. Because I think that a lot of people don't allow them to look past that thought process. It's okay to go down a path and halfway realize that it isn't for you anymore. That concept in psychology is called cost fallacy. You put all of your resources and time and energy into something, and because you went so far down it, you now believe that you can't leave it, because it means that you wasted all of that time. I'm guilty of doing that, I think, in a lot of ways. I think that I'm in that mindset right now, if I'm being 100% honest with you. I have built a lot in going to school and starting a career, that there's a part of me that's like, oh, like, I've already done this much, shouldn't I keep going? And then there's this other part of me that's like, girl, no, like, you're in your 20s, like, this is the time for you to be free and do whatever you want. But I think people forget that when you tell a 20-something that, like, yes, like, it is comforting, but it's also really scary, because then you start to feel like if you're anything like me at least, you start feeling like, okay, well, what should I try? Because I only have like a couple of years to mess up and then start building, and then mess up and then start building. I can't just be told that I can be or do anything, because then I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's so many options. Like which one do I go down? It can be overwhelming, and if you're like that, you're not alone. I'm here with you. And honestly, if you are also the type of person that grew up saying you didn't know what you wanted to be when you grew up as like an adult, you're not alone. I am sitting with you. It takes a lot of bravery and courage to admit that to yourself and to admit that to other people. And I think that that is the first step into going down and pursuing a path that is more aligned with who you are as a person. And if you can get to that, then, making that first step, as they all say, is the hardest thing, because that requires you to accept that maybe you did go down a path that you didn't want to anymore, and now you're gonna have to shift gears a little bit. But better now than never at all. I'm just another 20 something out there in the world that really has no idea what she wants to do. But I have faith that me and you will both figure it out. The key to that is just believing in yourself and accepting where you're at and being okay with taking the necessary steps to get to where you want to be.